Hi, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Denise for letting me speak. She tried so many times, and I just reluctantly keep on forgetting. So, today I would like to speak to you about something very important and dear to me, and that is my journey and some of the challenges that I faced along the way. And before I do that, I just want to go into something with regards to the Gamblers Anonymous program and what the definition of gambling is. This might resonate with you because it's not always about money. So, gambling for the compulsive gambler is defined as follows: any betting or wagering for self or others, whether for money or not, no matter how slight or insignificant, where the outcome is uncertain or depends upon chance or skill, constitutes gambling. Very important that we acknowledge this, because this is pretty much the definition of the whole concept of gambling, in a sense that it doesn't have to be for money. That's the very important key question. That is always, is it about the money? And no, it's not. I can tell you that. So I'm going to start because I have a long way to go here. And 15 minutes isn't going to do a dent in it. And I already have 2 minutes out. So here we go. My journey started 14 years ago. I want to pinpoint, I am 46 years old today. And I'm almost going to be 47. And it started when I was 33. So this is what actually happened. When I had gone to seek help for something in my life, I did not go for gambling. So gambling was not the intention for me to actually get help. It just got found out that through an assessment, the questions were always leading around gambling activities. And after that, the person I was sitting down with was wanting me to explore about something called compulsive gambling and whether I actually have a problem or not. So what actually happened is that part of my journey was terminated, just to open another door. And that door opened, and the next week I had an appointment with a gambling addiction specialist, and we had been going through some questions and assessments and all of that. My gambling continued. I actually laughed when they had said I may have a gambling problem, because it's just something I like to do. It was for fun. It was entertainment. Well, people go to movies for entertainment. People go to the restaurants for entertainment. But I chose not to do those things. And as I started frequenting this person's office, my gambling got worse. And one of the most important things that I found out is that I was always seeking permission from myself to accept that that was okay. That was number one challenge, is getting through to me. Getting through my brain, getting through to my head, and getting through to me, saying, you know what, maybe this is not something that I'm really enjoying. Maybe this thing that's called gambling is hurting me. Well, I'm going to let you know I had an epiphany about 4 months later. And one morning I woke up and I just uttered these words: either I stop or I die. Luckily for me, I already had secured a 3-week residential program in Windsor, Ontario. I haven't decided yet if I was going to go, but I already secured a bed. Something was in my direction that was speaking for me while I couldn't. And eventually, as the days progressed, closer and closer to me going to Windsor. Yes, Windsor has a residential treatment program only for gambling. So I was with people like me. And let me tell you something. If you think that made it any easier, it didn't. Because when we first started in residential treatment, we were competing against each other who had the worst story. And eventually we found out that I was better off than everyone else. Why? Because I wasn't miserable yet. I didn't lose anything yet. Everything that I had was nothing. So, and the funny thing is that I even went into closer to the end of residential treatment, and my counselor was kind of looking at it where it was like, you're better off than everyone else, count your blessings. And I didn't want to hear that. Because you know what? I didn't want to hear that I was better. The only thing was that I took from that was I didn't want to become them. And I made sure that my path was going to be, I'm not going to become them. So here's a better situation that comes afterwards is, so I've done my residential program. I've done all of the journaling, the writing, the drawing, all the art stuff that gave me the good feeling vibe. Wasn't enough. I had to go a little deeper. And the interesting thing was that they were trying to hit the nail on the head right in residential treatment, because it took them a while to break me down, to break my walls down. In the program, I was able to help every single person. I was able to give them wisdom. I was able to give them my knowledge. I was able to give them guidance. But I didn't allow a single person in that program. Why? Because I didn't want to be judged. And here's the whole thing about my talk right now, is the whole concept of me being worthy. I wasn't worthy of anything. And after residential treatment program, I had been basically living at home with my parents. I'm still living at home with my parents, and I'm not ashamed of that. But what that has done for me is that I was able to afford, after residential treatment, to come home, rebuild my self-esteem, rebuild me before I was able to go back into the workforce, before I was able to accept a job, because I wasn't interested in working. I was afraid. Fear is the number one thing. I was afraid to make money because I didn't want money in my pocket. If I had money, that was giving me permission to say, you know what? I can go to the casino. I can go to the bingo parlor. I can go to the gas station and scratch those tickets. And you know what? The hard part is to say is that the media glorifies gambling. You go everywhere, gambling is glorified. It is not treated as this demon, as what it's done to me. This is why I'm grateful I can tell my story. I could tell my experience. It is everywhere, and it is accepted. When someone is smoking a cigarette beside you, if you're a non-smoker, what do? You just walk up and go. Well, you don't do that with gambling, do you? No. Like, how many times is someone scratching a scratch ticket, you're interested to see if they're about to win? How many people just get up and walk away? It even happened to me a few weeks ago where I'm hearing about the whole concept of that wonderful big lottery that nobody won. Well, what happened to all that money that the lottery commission made off of that one draw? The barriers are that there's not enough money going into treatment centers for gambling addiction and getting that help that people have from the gambling itself. It's not about gambling. It's about everything else. Emptiness, loneliness, despair, not wanting to care. I have something in this that I just picked up and I think it was very interesting and I want to read it because someone took the time to write it. So if they took the time to write it, I should take the time to read it. And this might help. It's called The Compulsive Gambler. When I gamble, I feel completely insane, watching my money go straight down the drain. Thinking that this time will somehow be different, as wager by wager I'm spending my rent. After I've lost and it's finally all done, I think to myself, this was supposed to be fun. Now that it's over, the lies will begin, explaining the loss and where I've been. I wish I could somehow remember the pain next time the idea sneaks into my brain. It always ends up with the same result, with no one to blame because it's always my fault. It's my choice to make the first bet. Ending up broke is all that I get. I'll keep going to meetings and really start trying, making amends for all the cheating and lying. In a nutshell, that was me. I was a cheat, and I'm a liar. So now, what am I going to do about it? Words mean nothing. So I had to do the next thing, which is be impeccable with my word and always do my best. So in recovery, the one thing that I wanted to touch on for a few seconds is the fact that through my recovery, my journey led me to volunteer in a prison. It's a men's prison for addiction in Brampton, Ontario. And let's just say I go in there and the barrier is stigma. For these people, it's all about stigma. What people think, what people feel, how people act. These people are no different than you and me. These people just had really bad situations come into their lives. And now is my opportunity to say, you know what? I'm no different. I remember in one of the courses, and I was dealing with Denise on some issue. And she uttered something to me, and at that point, I kind of dismissed it. And even though I was in recovery, I did go through the Centennial College program course. And even though I'm in recovery, she had said something about the fact that I'm still behaving like the gambler. And she mentioned the next line, which is, with you, it's all or nothing. That resonated with me. Because it shouldn't be all or nothing. There could be the stuff in between that happens that I'm not allowing to let happen. Another barrier. I'm the barrier. I'm the one who can definitely make life a little easier if I allowed myself to. And that whole notion about all or nothing, that stuck through me for many, 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 many years. I know, Denise, you're laughing right now. But anyways, I'm not going to give you that. So this is what it is. And the whole thing is recovery starts with me. If I really want everyone else to think different about gambling and my journey, I have to think differently. I have to choose that, you know what? I can learn from my mistake. It wasn't a mistake. I'm telling you that it was not a mistake. I am grateful that that's where life led me. Because you know what? In the courses that I've taken, it says all behavior is purposeful. Well, the gambling was a purpose for me. That's the bottom line. There was a purpose for the gambling, to come into my life, let that demon take over, and then I kicked its ass out of my way. And I told myself I will never, ever, ever allow something to do that to me again. My obstacles are still there. But you know what? Things have diminished. I have credit. I have money. Not a lot of money, just money. If I want to pick up and go somewhere, I could pick up and go somewhere and enjoy my life. And now is the best part, where I can actually live life for what it's worth. So I appreciate you listening to me. I hope you have a great time in your studies. And I hope maybe I will cross your path one day and you'll say, hey, Angelo, I remember you when you did this little speech. So have a nice day. And I'm going to end this with namaste.